Hey, welcome. It is uh, Wednesday morning, 10 a.m. It must be time for the comfort doctor. He's just in the green room putting a little powder on his nose. He'll be ready to go. But I just wanted to ask you a question before we get started. There's a saying, through sleet, rain, hail, or snow, what happens? No, it's not for the postman. It's for the comfort doctor. He's not feeling well. He's a little under the weather today, but it's perfect because we're talking about ductwork and making sure that your home is healthy when it comes to ductwork today. So, with further ado, let's bring the doctor on. That's Mike Solomon from Anthem Air. Mike, how you doing this morning?
I'm all right, but the show must go on.
Yeah, that's it. It's when the green light goes on, you're here. So I won't
Yeah.
hold this up, but I just want to point out that if you are with our show today live, this is a live interactive show. I'll be in the background. So if you have comments or questions, please put them in the comment section. I'll get them over to Mike. And then if you're watching us on replay, just make sure to put the questions or comments in either the YouTube or the Facebook comment area, and Mike and I will get back with you. So, Mike, with that, let's have a great show.
All right, sounds good. So today's topic is ductwork, and ductwork is the most inefficient part of an air conditioner system. In previous topics, we talked about equipment efficiency, and we went into SEER ratings. Well, when we do SEER ratings for ductless systems, our SEER can get all the way up to like SEER 30, SEER 40. I mean, they go really high into the ductless systems. But the SEER ratings in ducted systems tend to be somewhere around 14. You're topping out somewhere around 20, 22, somewhere around there. And that's mostly because of the inefficiency that the ducts cause in a system. So, ducts are a major part of a system, and it's oftentimes the forgotten part of a system because we don't think about your ductwork. We see your equipment in the garage, we hear the system kick on, but the ducts just distribute the air to where we want it to go, and we forget about those parts. So efficient air distribution is a major part of the ductwork. Making sure that we bring the correct amount of air to each room so that we can improve the efficiency of your system, and that's going to actually prevent hot and cold spots throughout your house. So the hot and cold spots that occur oftentimes occur because that room is not getting the proper amount of air distributed throughout that room properly. So it could be too low of air, could be too much air in that room. Or it could just be that air is just doesn't have the velocity needed to mix the air properly and thus give your room the proper temperature control throughout. So ductwork is all about that. That's what's controlled by your hot and cold spots is your ductwork. It's also energy saving. So I talked about SEER a few minutes ago. And a properly insulated and sealed duct system will increase your efficiency tremendously. Typically, what we see is most homes have around 15% duct leakage. Could be 10, could be 17, somewhere around there. But 15% duct leakages. That means that 15% of the air that you're spending money on to condition is not making it into the home, and it's actually being sent into the attic or basement or wherever your ducts are going and not getting to the rooms where it needs to go. So you want to make sure that your ductwork is sealed properly, reduce the amount of duct leakage, and that it's insulated correctly, because your attic is typically it's going to be the hottest in the summertime. It's going to be the coldest in the wintertime. And that's where you're trying to send your conditioned air through. If that ductwork is not insulated properly, it's going to pick up that heat or lose that heat when you're trying to cool. And it's going to change the temperature from the equipment to where it's distributed into the home. So we want to make sure that that's well insulated. Improving indoor air quality. So your ductwork is where almost all of the air flows through. So you want to make sure that all of your air flows through there, but you want to make sure that your ductwork is clean. And that's why we offer duct cleaning also. And we want to make sure that you change your filters regularly. If you're not changing your filters regularly, your ductwork is going to be one of the first areas that become dirty and creates a negative effect on your indoor air quality. So to promote healthier cleaning or healthier indoor air, we want to make sure that you have clean ducts along with a clean, regularly changed out filter. So, and then there's the long-term cost savings for your duct system. Investing in a professionally installed duct work and maintenance can lead to long-term savings. So by prolonging the life of your HVAC duct system, reducing energy consumption, minimizing the need for repairs, things like that, homeowners can enjoy much greater efficiency and lower operating costs. When we talk about properly installed systems, I have a tool here. This is a straw. And with this straw, you can imagine the air flowing from one end to the other. It's actually going to flow nice. You can just blow right through it. And there's little to no restriction. But as we bend this straw, this is your ductwork up in your attic. Now you create more restriction, and that puts pressure on your air conditioner equipment. It messes up the distribution of air. And then what's worse is actually if you have a kink in your ducts, can you imagine air trying to flow through that kink right there? You just lose almost all of your air in that area. So you want to make sure that when you get your ducts installed, we want as straight of a run as possible. If you're going to bend, make sure that they're long, drawn out bends. Okay. We don't want tight bends where the air has trouble flowing through it. And then you want to take a look at your insulation on that ductwork. We talked about insulation before for your attic. Your ductwork actually comes with insulation around it. So typical ductwork in our area will have an R8 insulation level. And that's a lot of times when we walk into an attic and we're looking at ductwork, that's the first part of failure. So we'll see that insulation layer kind of falling off or split open. And once you lose that insulation, you've lost a lot of the efficiency of your duct system. So things that cause problems with your ductwork is when you have construction workers go up into your attic and do some work. Somebody who's doing electrical work, plumbing work, even air conditioning work. If they don't do it properly and they pull a wire over your ductwork, if they step on your ductwork, if they create a hole in your ductwork, that's going to cause problems. We find rodents that love to go into a home and they're looking for, in the summertime, cooler areas, in the wintertime, warmer areas. So they'll go into an attic and they feel that heat from that ductwork of where that nice, warm or cold air is, and they'll dig into that ductwork, causing holes in that ductwork where they now have access into your home. So the rodents are an issue also that we see out there. Typically, ductwork should last probably about 20 years, 15 to 25 years is what we want to look at our ductwork to last, especially properly installed and maintained ductwork. You want to get your ducts cleaned probably every about 4 to 5 years. And that'll make sure that the inside stays clean, things like that. And then after about 20 to 25 years, typically you're going to want to get them replaced, even if nobody's worked in your attic. And you've done a good job at maintaining them. And that's because the heat or the cold, the extreme temperatures of your attic will start to deteriorate the ductwork itself just over time. So you want to make sure that you properly maintain your system, your duct system, to keep it lasting as long as possible. When you do get a new duct system, you want to make sure it's done by a professional who understands that it's not the quote easiest way to install ductwork, but it's the most efficient for that airflow. And then you want to take a look and make sure that rooms that are getting hot or cold spots in them, that you talk to your installer about that, so that we can take a look at that ductwork and see whether or not we need to increase the size of the duct to create more air to that room. Maybe it's changing out that vent to create a different type of velocity in that room so that we can distribute that air properly. Or maybe it's just that that room is getting too much air and we need to redistribute that air to other areas of your home. So when it comes to ductwork, you want to have a professional who understands how the mechanics of airflow work, and have them explain to you and answer your questions that you have regarding your ductwork and how to properly maintain and install new ones. You can give us a call and we can help you out.
Mike, that's great. We had one question come in and you answered. It was like, how long does ductwork actually last? And you were saying about 20 to 25 years is really the lifespan of that. And then, a follow-up with that is, and so some of the telltale signs of it might be reaching its age limit is when we start seeing or feeling temperatures that are inconsistent with other parts of our house. Is that correct, whether it's winter or summer?
Yeah. So when your ducts start to deteriorate, your insulation layer typically starts to fall off. And then you're going to have that temperature change inside your duct system. So now your rooms are not hitting the temperatures that you want them to get to, because they're losing all that efficiency, all that cold or hot air in the attic through heat exchange. And then also you're going to start to get the holes in your duct system, which cause really bad indoor air quality. You can imagine that air in that attic is pretty bad. And now there's a hole that's leading right into your house from your duct systems, pushing that air in there. So,
wow, something we tend to forget, because it's up in our ceilings or in our roofs, and it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. As long as it's cool and comfortable in the house, or warm and comfortable in the house, we kind of forget about it. But it's kind of nice to put we would not drink milk if we went a month past the expiration date. And it makes me wonder, like, how many of us out here in our homes in the Coachella Valley are well past our expiration dates when it comes to our ductwork. So I appreciate you bringing us up to date on that.
Yep. So I appreciate the opportunity to talk to everybody. So thank you.
Hey, I do have one question. I know you've got a free insulation inspection going on with Anthem, and you need to call 855-268-4369 to set that up. And then also you can plus that schedule by recommending the seasonal tune-up, because we are in that time where we're starting to see, I think today it's going to be 80 degrees outside, which is very nice for us. But is it time now to start scheduling those seasonal tune-ups?
Yes. So the seasonal tune-ups, typically we want to do it when the temperature is over 75 degrees. And in the afternoons, we're definitely at that level most days right now. And but now is the time to start to schedule those. That way, when it's a little bit warmer, but not to where you're running your air conditioner system, we can check the refrigerant levels properly and things like that, and get your tune-ups done before you turn on your air conditioner system. So a lot of times people are like, well, I'm not using it, so I'll just wait. Well, you want to have it done. It's preventative to make sure that when you do turn on your air conditioner system, your system is now properly charged, ready to go, and you don't have problems with it, versus turning it on. It may work at first, but now it's like a car that hasn't ran in a long time. You turn it on and it may turn over, but you start driving it and your tires are low and your oil's bad and everything else. So get it done before you start to drive that air conditioner system this summer.
Makes a bad trip a long one and a bad one. So that sounds great. Well, Mike, again, the information is on the screen, 855-268-4369. You can call to set up your free insulation inspection. Before I let you go, can you give us a brief overview of what that really means to have an insulation inspection? Because I know last week you talked about the different levels and the types of things in there. I won't let you go through all of that, but what really happens during that inspection?
So we're going to go up into the attic. It's a good time for us to look at your duct system also, which it can be included in that insulation inspection. But we're going to go up into your attic. We're going to take a look to see how thick your insulation is. We use those rulers that I showed you last week. And then we also take a look to see whether or not your insulation is distributed properly throughout the attic. So just because you may have a thick insulation next to the attic door, further down in the attic, you may be missing all your insulation. Some people have converted like garages into secondary rooms and they didn't put insulation in there. We find that all the time. So we're going to take a look throughout your attic, everything that's accessible, and make sure that that insulation is at the proper level and distributed properly.
That sounds great. Again, the number is 855-268-4369, and that's set up for the free installation inspection, plus set up your seasonal seasonal tune-up before you turn on your air conditioner. Don't wait to turn it on and hear that sound. Honey, why is the air coming out of the vent warm? You want to make sure to check it beforehand. Well, Mike, I really appreciate that. And keep in mind now, Anthem services all of Coachella Valley as well as Riverside. So if you need Riverside area, so if you need help in either seasonal tune-up, ductwork, or your installation inspection, give them a call at 855-268-4369. Mike, as always, we really appreciate you stopping in here, especially on a day where you're not feeling your best, and letting us know that we should be taking more care and attention with our ductwork.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all. See you next week.